Church, class, people, wherever you're hearing this from today, I've got one question to start with. What if the thing you're worried about isn't what's actually stopping you? See, sometimes we think worry is protecting us, keeping us alert, on edge, prepared. But the truth is, worry doesn't protect your peace, it poisons it. Worry is a signal, not a sentence. Worry isn't your enemy, it's your reminder to pray, not panic. Worry is not the enemy, but it's not your identity either. And it's time we stop letting it take up permanent residence in our minds like it pays rent. Worry is a visitor. It's a signal. It's that flashing light on the dashboard of your soul trying to tell you, hey, something's out of alignment here. But watch this. It's not your sentence. It's not your life. It's not who you are. You are not an anxious person. You are not a worrier. You are a child of God learning how to hear the warning signs and respond with wisdom, not fear. Come on. See, we've been trained to think worry equals responsibility. That if you're not stressed, you're not serious. That if you're not losing sleep, maybe you're not trying hard enough. But let me correct that lie today with truth. Asterisk, asterisk, being worried doesn't mean you're being wise. Asterisk, asterisk, worry is not the proof of your care. It's the pressure of your control. And some of us are walking around thinking that the tighter we grip the problem, the closer we are to fixing it. But sometimes, asterisk, asterisk, God can't fix what you won't release. Asterisk, asterisk, you ever been driving and that little check engine light comes on? Now you have a choice. You can keep driving and ignore it, pretend it's not there. Or you can take that car in and say, something needs to be checked out before this gets worse. That's how God designed your emotional system, your spirit. When worry starts flashing across your mind, it's not to keep you stuck. It's to wake you up. It's an invitation, not a condemnation. It's your soul saying, let's talk to God about this before we run ourselves off the road. But here's the real shift. Here's the educational power moment right here. Worry can either asterisk, asterisk, lead you to self-preservation, asterisk, asterisk, or it can asterisk, asterisk, lead you to God's presence, asterisk, asterisk. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of letting worry dictate my focus. I'm tired of it hijacking my joy, stealing my peace, and making me imagine futures that don't even exist. That's what worry does. It puts your imagination in the hands of fear instead of faith, and then you start rehearsing every worst case scenario like it's a script. But who wrote that script? Because my Bible says in 2 Timothy 1:7, asterisk, asterisk, God did not give us a spirit of fear, asterisk, asterisk. So why are we treating it like it came from Him? Let me push you here. When worry shows up, it's your alarm clock to pray, not panic, not complain, not Google everything at 3 a.m. It's your moment to say, okay, God, I feel this tension. I feel this weight. But instead of spiraling, I'm surrendering. Worry might be what gets your attention, but it doesn't get to make your decisions. That's the job of your faith. That's the power of your trust. That's the grace of knowing you don't have to carry what God already covered. So stop judging yourself for feeling worried. Start training yourself to use it as a cue. Not to shut down, but to step up in the spirit. To say, I see the light flashing, and I know it's time to check in with the one who holds my future. God's plan is greater than your pressure we stress because we think we have to control it all, but God is already ahead of you. Let me speak right to the weight you've been carrying. That pressure in your chest, that restless sleep, that constant what if loop playing in your head like a broken record. That's not peace, that's performance. That's you thinking you've got to carry the world on your back while trying to hold it all together like God needs your help to finish what He started. But I came to tell you God's plan is greater than your pressure. And the longer you confuse pressure with purpose, the more burned out you're going to feel trying to build something God already promised to complete. Some of you have been taught that pressure is just the price of progress, that if it doesn't hurt, it's not holy, that if it's not hard, it's not God. But that's a lie dressed up in hustle. Listen to me, pressure is not always proof of purpose. Sometimes it's a sign that you're trying to do in your strength what God only designed to be done in His. And if you're constantly walking around feeling like everything depends on you, your decisions, your timing, your effort, you're not walking in faith, you're walking in fear disguised as responsibility. Now hear me. I'm not saying we don't work hard. I'm not saying we just sit back and do nothing. But there's a difference between obedience, and overfunctioning. God never asked you to carry the weight of the outcome. That's His job. He called you to walk in obedience, step by step, moment by moment, trusting that the outcome is already in His hands. You don't have to know how it's all going to work out to move forward. You just have to trust the one who already saw the end from the beginning. Let me show you something from the Word. Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." That means you can plan, you can prepare, you can strategize, but it's God's purpose that's going to stand in the end. So why are you sweating your way through something God already secured with His promise? You don't have to be the architect, the engineer, the foreman, and the laborer on your life. You just have to show up and follow the blueprint. And the blueprint is not stress, it's trust. The blueprint is not fear, it's faith. You've been walking around thinking that pressure proves you're in control. But real control is knowing when to release . Real strength is found in surrender. You're not God. You're His child, and the good news is your Father is faithful. He's not just guiding the process. He is the process. So when the pressure builds, don't let it convince you that you're behind or failing. Let it push you deeper into the presence of the one who's writing your story. The pressure isn't there to crush you. It's there to reveal who you're really relying on, and maybe, just maybe, the greatest act of faith isn't doing more, but trusting more. Trusting that even when you feel under pressure, you're still under God's plan. Faith is a decision before it's a feeling. You don't wait to feel trust. You choose to trust. Faith is not a mood swing. It's not some goosebump moment in a worship service. It's not something you wait to feel before you move. No, faith is an decision before it ever becomes a feeling. And that's where so many people miss it. They're waiting for faith to show up like it's Amazon Prime. Easy, fast, and convenient. But real, grounded, biblical faith. That's a choice you make in the middle of confusion. That's a stand you take when nothing makes sense. That's a yes, Lord, when your emotions are screaming no. Let me break this down. If you only trust God when you feel like trusting Him, you're not walking by faith. You're walking by feelings. And feelings will lie to you. Feelings will rise and fall with every circumstance. Faith isn't built on the mood of the moment. It's built on the character of God and God does not change. You don't get to build a strong life on a shaky foundation. You build it on the rock. And sometimes that means looking at your fear, your doubt, your insecurity, and saying, I don't feel strong today, but I choose to believe anyway. You think Abraham felt like trusting God when He told him to leave everything and go to a land he'd never seen. You think Esther felt like risking her life to stand before the king. You think Jesus felt like carrying that cross. Faith isn't always comfortable, but it's always worth it. And when you decide to stand in faith, even when you don't feel it, That's when things start to shift. Not just around you, but asterisk in asterisk you. That's when you grow. That's when heaven starts moving. Because faith is what activates the promises of God. Not talent, not emotions, not comfort. Asterisk asterisk faith. Asterisk asterisk, and here's what you've got to understand. The enemy of your soul isn't just trying to mess with your circumstances. He's trying to shake your confidence in God's character. Because if he can get you to question who God is, he can paralyze you before you ever step forward. But not you, not today. Today you decide that faith is your foundation. That even if the storm hits, you're staying rooted. That even if the news is bad, your God is still good. That even if the door closes, it wasn't the one for you. And you don't have to asterisk feel asterisk it to believe it. This is not fake it till you make it. This is asterisk asterisk stand firm until it breaks open. Asterisk asterisk, this is you choosing trust not because it's easy but because it's eternal. Faith is waking up with questions but choosing to worship anyway. Faith is praying again after disappointment. Faith is saying, God, I don't know how, but I know you, and that's enough for me to keep moving. That's how you grow real spiritual muscle. Not by waiting for the right vibe, but by choosing to believe the right truth. Faith is not a feeling you chase. It's a foundation you build. And the deeper you dig it, the less the storm can shake it. When you surrender, you step into strategy. God doesn't need your panic. He needs your permission to lead. You keep thinking surrender is the end, but what if I told you it's actually the beginning? What if the very thing you're afraid of letting go is the doorway to the breakthrough you've been praying for? You think you need control, but God's saying, asterisk, I need your cooperation more than I need your control. Asterisk, surrender isn't weakness. Surrender is wisdom. It's not giving up. It's giving asterisk God asterisk the room to step in and lead, because he can't bless what you're too busy trying to dominate on your own terms. See, we love to sing, Have Your Way, Lord, in church. But then we walk out and try to have our way all over again. We pray for God's guidance, but then we don't follow it unless it matches our preferences. But real spiritual maturity, real power is when you say, God, even if this doesn't go how I imagined, I'll still follow your voice over my vision. You've got to trust the shepherd even when the path doesn't make sense. Even when the route is slower than you wanted, harder than you expected, or different than you planned. Let me hit you with this. Asterisk, when you surrender, you don't shrink, you shift. Asterisk, you shift from panic to peace. From striving to strategy, from chaos to clarity, because God doesn't work through force. He flows through surrender. And when you surrender, your mind opens to what you couldn't see while you were wrestling for control. Some of y'all are praying for a miracle while still clenching your fists. God's like, I want to pour it out, but your hands are too full of your own agenda. We've made it sound like surrender is some final, defeated posture. Like it's what we do when we run out of options. But surrender is not your last resort. It's your asterisk asterisk first response asterisk asterisk. It's saying, I don't know everything, but I know the one who does, and I'm tired of playing God in my own life. Because let's be honest, how's that working out for you? Every time we try to control what only God can manage, we end up exhausted, confused, and anxious. But when you surrender, peace comes rushing in. Direction becomes clearer. God doesn't need you to fix it. He needs you to asterisk trust asterisk him enough to asterisk follow. Asterisk, and watch this surrender positions you to receive what striving never could. You think you're losing when you let go, but you're actually aligning. You're stepping into heaven's strategy. You're stepping into divine timing. You're stepping into strength that's not yours, but supernatural. God never asked you to have it all figured out. He asked you to say yes, not to the plan, but to his leadership. You don't need more plans, you need more permission. Permission for God to interrupt, redirect, and reroute. That's where real power lies, not in your performance, but in your permission. You don't fight for control. You fight to stay surrendered. Because that's where your next level starts. Not when you get your way, but when you let God have His. Letting go isn't giving up. It's gearing up. You're not dropping control. You're handing it to the one who already wrote the outcome. You've been telling yourself that letting go means failure. That if you release your grip, you're giving up. That if you're not pushing and pulling and proving yourself, you're somehow falling behind. But can I tell you something that'll flip your whole mindset? Letting go isn't giving up, it's gearing up. It's not a step back, it's a asterisk for what God is about to do in your life. Because while you're trying to hold it all together, God is saying, let me hold you. You think letting go makes you look weak. But real strength is knowing when to stop striving and start surrendering. You're not made to carry everything. You're not built to be everyone's savior. That role's already taken. And the more you try to operate in your own power, the more drained you feel. Because you're not quitting a fight. You're handing it over to the one who's never lost a battle. You're not walking away from your future. You're trusting the God who wrote every line of it before you took your first breath. See, in the kingdom of God, upside down is right side up. The world says hold on tighter, but the word says cast your cares on him. The world says take control, but the Spirit says trust me more. You're not losing momentum, you're gaining clarity. Because while you're busy gripping what's comfortable, God is trying to place something new in your hands. But He can't do that if your fists are closed around fear, pride, and the illusion of control. Let me tell you, some of the greatest moments of breakthrough in my life didn't come when I forced my way through. They came when I said, God, I don't know what I'm doing, but I trust that you do. That's when the shift happened. That's when peace walked in, that's when the weight lifted. Because when you let go, you're not giving up on the promise. You're stepping out of the way so God can fulfill the promise. You don't gear up by grinding harder. You gear up by laying down what's not yours to carry. You prepare for your next by releasing the need to control the outcome. Because God isn't moved by your panic. He's moved by your trust. He's not impressed by how tight you can hold it all together. He's glorified when you say, even if I don't know how this ends, I know who you are. That's where the real power is. That's where your strength is renewed. That's when the strategy unfolds. Because letting go isn't letting life fall apart. It's letting God put it together in a way only He can. And I know it's scary. I know it feels like stepping out into the unknown, but that's where faith lives. That's where growth happens. That's where the real you emerges, the one who doesn't rely on stress to succeed, but on surrender to soar. Worry ends where worship begins when you focus on God's power instead of your problems. Peace follows. You keep asking God to lead you, but then you keep trying to take the wheel when the road doesn't look like you thought it would. You say, Lord, guide my steps. But the moment the path gets bumpy or unfamiliar, you grab control again like He doesn't know where He's going. Let me tell you something. Following God is not about comfort. It's about trust. And trust doesn't mean you understand every turn. It means you believe He's good even when the road doesn't make sense. It means you move when He says move, wait when He says wait, and praise even when you can't see the promise yet. God doesn't need your permission to lead. He needs your participation. He doesn't need your backup plan, he needs your obedience. He's not asking you to map the journey. He's asking you to follow the cloud, like the Israelites in the wilderness. He's saying, asterisk, when I move, you move. When I stay, you stay. Asterisk, and the problem is, too many of us want to be led, asterisk, without asterisk, letting go of control. We want God's results with our strategy, but it doesn't work like that. Obedience isn't just doing what He says when it's easy. It's trusting what He says even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs you, even when it makes zero sense in your natural mind. There will be seasons where God tells you to move and nothing around you looks ready. And there will be moments where He says wait and everything around you looks urgent. But that's the test. That's the proving ground. That's where He separates the ones who trust His hand from the ones who only trust their hustle. Because you can't claim God is Lord and then argue every time He leads differently than you expected. You've got to understand something: God sees what you can't. He knows what's ahead. So when He leads you down a detour, it's not because He's delaying you. It's because He's asterisk protecting asterisk you. That rejection, it was redirection. That closed door, it was divine intervention. And you may not realize it in the moment, but when you look back, you'll thank Him for every no. Every pause, every reroute. Because it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And let's get real, following God will stretch you. It'll challenge your pride, your patience, your plans. It will take faith muscles you didn't even know you had. But that's how you grow. That's how you step into authority. That's how you begin to walk like a person who's not just surviving, but living by divine direction. And when you let God truly lead, He'll take you places your striving never could. He'll open doors your networking never reached. He'll make ways your talent never earned. You don't need to have it all figured out to follow. You just need to say, yes, Lord, even here, even now, even in this. Because when you let God lead, you stop living off pressure and start walking in purpose. You stop reacting to everything around you and start responding to the voice within you. That's where the peace is. That's where the power is. That's where your promise begins to unfold, step by step in sync with the Savior.